Hello and welcome to FreeStyle, where we discuss pop culture, self-help, business, gaming, and technology, among other things. We go off script here. Let's freestyle. Please consider giving us a like and subscribing. It really helps. Now enjoy the show.
My dad being one of 27 children. 27.
Wow.
This is gonna sound really crazy. I need y'all to put y'all seatbelt on because we can really go for a ride. We're gonna go to 0 to 150 in just 3 seconds, okay?
Hey, I'm Justin, here with Trueshot Turtle. And
Hello.
Hollywood. Why don't you introduce us to yourself, Hollywood?
Hello, I am the Hollywood Woo. I am a singer-actor. I've been on American Idol season 13. I have also done quite a few films, and I'm also starring in a play right now that is called Memphis, the musical. I am the character of Del Rey, and thank you for having me today on your show.
Totally, it's good to have you. So, what kind of brought you into singing and doing stage performance? Like, what kind of brought you down that path? Did you study this in school? Like, what's your kind of bring up for that?
Nobody else was doing what I was doing at the time when I was a kid, and plus I was bored. Nothing really brought me joy.
Right.
And I was always interested in at the time. It was Michael Jackson, the socks and the belt buckles, Prince, and stuff like that. And I was really in love with that. And so I would mimic them. And so I learned the art of performance very early by watching those two. And then my family, on my dad's side and as well on my mom's side, sings. But don't ask my mom to sing. And my dad, well, he lost it years ago, so don't ask him to sing either. But all the others can sing though. But don't ask them to sing. They cannot. But don't ask them. You can ask me to sing all day long. I got you. But
they could sing better than me for sure.
So the seed was already planted there, and I got into just wanting to know more about it, and so. I would probably say in elementary school, I got into the 5th grade talent show. Didn't make it because I was trying to do what everybody else was doing. But then the next year, the 6th grade talent show came. I did Michael Jackson's "You're Not Alone" and won the whole entire thing. And then it kind of just went on from there. And got into band, then on to got into drama much later, and everything just kind of snowballed from there.
I think the cat wants to be on the show too.
That's awesome. Kenith. So I mean, I'm really interested in like how you got into art, but I'm actually like. When you mentioned you were in a couple of films, do you mind, like, which films were they?
So, I just finished up a film. One was called Masquerade by Jason Pitts. It is a psychological thriller that deals with a young lady by the name of Olivia Diamond, who is played by the wonderful and talented Olivia Disney. Who has a multiple personality disorder, and it's a film short. She kills people, and gets away with it. Actually, it's really interesting, and the way Jason Pitts wrote the film and designed the film is that he did it with the art of masks, right? Because her particular character hid behind her her identity disorder, while the rest of us had these masks, these physical masks that we were behind, concealing what we were doing. So my character, Jaren, was there to rob a bank. Oh no, I had robbed a bank. I was there to I had broken into a house to rob and steal stuff out of there, just like all the other characters were. But we all had our own secrets, and so before we meet our demise, we have to own up to our truths. So it was really interesting about that. And then there was another film that I did, which was a full-length film, which was called Nice Guys Finish Last.
Isn't that the truth?
Which is actually on Amazon Prime and is on Tubi, to be exact. And my character on there is the character of Cody. When you think of Cody, if anyone has ever seen P-Valley, Uncle Clifford, it puts you in that mindset of Uncle Clifford. He's very over the top, very dramatic, and has really good tea.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So I've published 2 plays myself, but when it comes down to acting, like, and rehearsing scripts and stuff like that, like, what is your process?
It's a great question.
If it's a play that's been done before, I typically try to not watch it, just simply because I don't want to be persuaded by what that particular actor is doing. But only use it as a reference point unless I get absolutely stuck.
I think it depends on the material that you have available to you.
Yeah, and especially if it's hard to. With this, with the Memphis play, which is a musical, so there's acting and singing. So, what is it that you do first? So,
Yes.
So with me, the process is always music first, because there's a lot of singing, a lot of movement, and then you can incorporate what comes. The lines come with the movement. Oh, I'm saying this when I'm doing this. I'm doing this and I'm saying this. I'm doing this and I'm over here when I'm doing that. And so you can start associating things with your words, thoughts, or deeds, or whatever you may have at that particular time. Now that's for musicals. Now, as far as plays are concerned, when you have a lot,
like a lot of dialogue, or
yes, repetition, repetition. Because I'm someone that will tell you, you don't want to look foolish, because
Absolutely.
the people in the audience will let you know, baby.
Yeah, they will.
They will let you know.
It's a reflection of the show too. If one character just does not have their lines down, and it could be detrimental, I would assume, to the entire production.
Yeah. And it's not just so much about knowing your lines, but actually knowing the character. And a good example of that is so Glenn Close. I love Glenn. So when she did Fatal Attraction back in the early 90s, her character of Alex was this psycho person. And I remember in an interview, and I was a young person at this time, but when I got into acting, I always wanted to do what the greats did. So the greatest advice that I received was from an actor that is no longer here. His name is in order to do, in order to stand where the greats are and have, you must learn what it is that they do. And so, for me, it's always learning the habits of what those individuals that have come before me do. So, for example, Glenn. So, in order to get into the head of this character, she went to go see a therapist and said, "Hey, is this behavior? How can one get into this behavior? What motivation would a person? What are the triggers here?" So it's definitely a process.
Right.
And it all just depends on what it is that you're doing. And I love storytelling. The art of storytelling is it's the storytelling for me. So
Right. Very cool. I appreciate that, man. That's really good advice. If in order to be where the greats are, you got to know what they do. That's really strong. So I was actually like that segues into kind of like my next question here. So Kenneth, where are you from, and how does that affect your work?
I am from a little small town called Marche, Arkansas. Um, if you blink, you'll miss the sign and you miss the fly that has went right by your eye when you blink. And how does it affect my work? Well, I oftentimes have to seek out work. Work doesn't come to me. So I'm always looking online, trying to find things online, whether it be casting and online stuff, because most of the work is not here,
Right.
and the things that are here are very few and far between,
Huh.
and they're very the character types are very few and far between. I'm a very
Are they stereotypical? What do you mean by character types?
well. So for example, when a casting director sends out a casting, they'll have what it is that they're looking for. And sometimes you'll fit that character description. Sometimes it's you won't. So most of the time, so for example, let's say a director is filming a movie called The Writing on the Wall, and they need someone that's in the age range between 25 and 35. Right, I'm 37, but I could definitely, I still could audition because I'm not 35, but I'm close enough to 35 that I can get. But
Right.
but let's go. Okay, but we're looking for somebody that's 150 pounds. Okay, well I missed it by a buck 50. Okay, okay, so that's strike one, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so and then so they'll say okay, and they're looking for someone that's maybe 5'6". All right, I'm 6'6", strike two, so we're out.
Right.
Okay, that's that. And then they may say okay. We're looking for someone and you may very much well be the race they're looking for, but you may not fit everything else that's in the box. So now, because I've not only am I acting now, but I've got into doing more casting stuff, and so so I know for me as a casting director. What I typically do when I go into situations, I eliminate all of those things because I want to see what you bring, because I would miss out on what could be, by putting up barriers and boxes
Right.
to put people in. And so as a person that is into the aspect of directing, as an actor going into casting, my mindset is, let's remove the boundaries and let people play. Because when you let them play, then you remove the apprehension of, I don't fit this, I don't fit that. No, baby, just come and play. Just come and play.
Yeah, I would
that's
assume you
amazing.
miss out on some good talent, or someone that's very eager to do a good job just because they're not a certain height or a certain race or what have you, whatever you're looking for in your role.
Yeah, I mean, because we really need to get everybody needs to be represented in film and television. It needs to be more of what the world actually is and not what
They want to show you.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does not have. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, we all have 6, 8, and 8 packs, okay? But some of it's covered up by potato chips and lasagnas and pizzas, okay? All right. Let's be honest, okay? It's there, but it's covered up, okay? So a lot of folks are full-figured people, okay? And so we need to embrace the beauty of bodies,
Absolutely,
in the shapes of bodies, and if you do that, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's like a bouquet of flowers. I've never seen. I always tell friends of mine, roses are so boring. But I tell you what, if you bring me some flowers that's got everything in it, I pay more attention to those because everything don't look the same.
Right.
true.
And I like the fact I like what's different. I like what's different.
Right.
It's like driving past the interstate, and you see those lilies. Well, I call them lilies, but then you see like another flower that don't look like anything else, but that's what your eye is drawn to because it don't look the same. That's what I want. I want what don't look like everything else.
Right.
Are you currently so as a casting director, are you currently casting? So I know you're also in a play. So are you casting, directing, and in a play, or is this for another project?
I've worked as a casting director before. And I've cast a project before, so I had that experience, and I will be working on a play later on, that I will be casting for a little bit later, and which is another thing too. Unless the play is specific in its casting. So, for example, The Sound of Music. Okay? Let me let y'all know something.
You'll educate me, bro. Educate me.
Maria Von Trapp will never be black, okay? She will never. The time period suggests not. Okay? She will not. Mr. Von Trapp, no. He will not ever be unless it's another musical in a different time period, because
History and facts, right?
Because I got you.
because history, times, and facts will prove you right and will definitely prove you wrong. So you want to be on the right side of history and not on the wrong side. And you don't want no bad reviews because you'll never work again. Ever.
All right. So Sinestros, I was asking a lot of questions. Do you have any questions that you would like to bounce off of Kenneth?
Yeah, but I don't know if they're as enlightening as you. I want to move towards like typically, what's a day look like for you? What's your routine when you get up in the morning? What kind of good habits do you have? What kind of habits would you like to form?
Oh my God. I like to. What I would like to do. It's kind of like my wish list. I kind of gotten lazy. So I want to get back to my workout regimen. Getting up every day and going for a 6-mile run. I have to work my way back up to that.
Oh yeah. I know the feeling.
And after that, and getting some rest and and just getting more organized and focusing more on my acting because I'm getting more into that.
Right.
Because I do other things outside of acting. But performing, I want it to be my main thing. So what I'm doing now, I'm putting all my ducks, chickens, and geese and everything in a row, so that when it's time to go rock and roll.
What is that?
You're gonna be...
So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna comment saying that you're gonna be prepared for when the opportunity comes. I love the quote. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and it sounds like that's what you're working on.
Yeah, my band teacher used to say, "Chance favors a prepared mind always."
I love that one too,
That's
bro.
good. Mine's not so profound, but I think that you got to practice and to get good at anything in life. You know, whether that be dating, singing, acting, doing laundry. Even I guess you can get better and more efficient at doing laundry if you practice doing it.
Well, I mean, laundry. I mean, it doesn't take talent. It doesn't take talent to do laundry. You just have to follow instructions and not mix the white clothes with the colored clothes, or else your white clothes is going to be the same color as your colored clothes. Now, with that being said,
I don't know. Have you ever seen those people with the fast folding techniques? You're having one corner and like folding shirts in like 2 seconds, slamming them out. That probably takes some practice, I think.
Well, what that takes practice. Yeah. You can get good at it, but like you said with singing, you and I know some people.
Oh yeah, it sounds like a rabbit squealing.
And they've been singing for how long? And they can practice, and they still ain't got no better.
Yeah.
So I mean, some things practice just don't help, and that's just that. Okay.
True. Well, I want to add on to Sinestros' question. He asked you about your morning routines, but I'm actually curious about how do you get into the zone for when you are, say, for example, you're preparing for the project that you're currently in, this play that you're currently in. Like when I was a professional artist, we would literally practice 11 hours a day. We would sleep in the studio, all of those things, and we'd wake up, do our stretches, do the things that we need to do. So what is your routine to get into zone so that you can crunch out how many hours you're on the stage?
It's the exact same. It's almost like a conservatory for me. It's school. When you're not in school, you're in school. When you're at rehearsal, when you leave rehearsal, you're still at rehearsal, because when you come back to rehearsal, you're expected to know the things that you went over the day before, because we don't have time to keep going over, keep reteaching the stuff that you should already know, because there's a lot. It's a fast moving train that has a lot of moving parts, and so you're either gonna get on board or you're gonna get run over, and we don't want you to get run over. Okay, we already know what train wrecks look like. Okay, it's a mess to clean up.
So I mean, I was quite fortunate enough to be kind of in an atmosphere that had what's the word? Constructive criticism, but also had a creative atmosphere. So I'm not quite sure what the your line of work, being in the performing arts where you have lines and you have other actors. So is it a cutthroat industry, or what's the atmosphere like?
It can be. Theater is supposed to be a safe space. it's that place where you can go and be free unapologetically,
Right.
supposedly. I mean, it's like anything else. You have different levels of experience. People that have been doing it for years, and some people that may have not been doing it as much. So you have to approach it the same way. Um, you have to go in with the right intent. Um, but it definitely can be, especially when you are in a place. Let's just say New York, for instance. So I was told once, "Oh, you're so very talented. Why don't you go to New York?" Okay. So what do you tell those individuals that have, in fact, been in New York their entire lives, and they're in the city where it it's happening all the time? What do you
Right.
tell those people?
Right.
Where
What do you tell those people?
where you gonna tell them to go? Because they're already there.
Yeah.
Go to Canada?
Try harder, maybe.
You know what I'm saying.
I
So
know what you're
like,
saying, bro. Yep.
being here in Arkansas, it's when I say the jobs are few and far between. So you don't have like a lot of opportunities, but when they do come, you take advantage of them. But I'm always working because that's just what I do. Because Hollywood gonna do what he do. Because I have worldwide appeal.
Right.
I
Right.
want you to understand that. I want everybody to understand that. But when you are in a place that like New York or L.A. or Atlanta, where it's so much, you have that much more to deal with, and you have that many more people that you're up against. So what's going to separate you from them, right? What are your
Right.
credentials? You know, um,
Right. So how do you get into the zone? Like how do you prepare so that you can be at the top so you can stand out from the rest?
being prepared. Preparedness is the most important thing. Knowing the material and not being afraid to take risks. I think the most important thing when you're stepping out and you're doing something like this is you cannot be afraid. You just cannot be. Um, no one I know, no one I know. I'm even going to use you as an example, Mr. Turtle. I'm going to use um, my friend over here, my counterpart over here, to the left to the left of me, as an example. Um, because even what you guys are doing, so you don't know what's ahead.
No, not at all.
And so only thing you know is that you're doing it right. And so
Right.
but you can't be afraid. You have to just keep doing it. You have to
Yep.
keep doing it because I mean a child doesn't learn how to walk if they don't know if they never fall, right? But they have to crawl first. So after they learn how to crawl, then eventually they'll get up and walk, and then they'll run. But they'll never learn the art of running if they don't know how to if they don't walk first. If they don't crawl, walk, and then run. So you have to start somewhere,
Right.
and you have to be willing to make mistakes, and you have to not be afraid.
Right.
It's like jumping off of an airplane. Um, those that are thrill seekers that skydive. God
Right.
bless y'all. Okay, God bless y'all. All right. You know you have. It's like opening the parachute.
Right.
It ain't gonna open if you don't pull the cord.
Right.
If you don't open the, If you don't open the cord, splat. You're done.
Right.
So why not soar?
Right.
If you have the opportunity to soar. My aunt, who's going through her cancer battle right now, told me something that's very profound. She says, "You have no children. You have the opportunity of a lifetime to go and do whatever it is that your heart desires.
Right.
You will do yourself a disservice if you don't go and do. And you will never know. You will never know until you do. Because you don't know what that may be that one thing may be that thing that you needed to get you to where you needed to go. So the fact that you, Mr. Turtle, are doing this, and the fact that you, Justin, are doing this, who knows where this may take you? Mm-hmm. So, if anything, I'm going to tell you what my drama teacher told me yesterday when she came and she saw the show last night. That made me cry on stage when the show was over. She said, "I almost died 3 times this year." This was her words. She's been an educator for over 35 years. And she retired a few years ago. And she says, "Before I die, I want you to know how proud I am of you because you did not stop." Most people stop and will never know their potential.
Oh yeah.
Because it gets too hard. Mm-hmm. Or because we live in a time and a space where we don't want stuff that's on the stove. We want it in a microwave. What I'm saying is this.
Easy way out.
We want the instant.
Yeah, instant gratification. Yeah.
The things that take time.
Mm.
I want a special order. So what I want for myself takes time. Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to wait on. I'm waiting. So I'm more than willing to wait for FedEx, for UPS or USPS or whatever delivery service, DHL, whatever delivery service, or God Himself, whomever, however the delivery comes, I'm willing to wait on it because what I have invested and what I put into it took time. Mm-hmm. It ain't easy. A lot of folks get up here and they think that what I do is easy, or doing a podcast is easy. It's not easy when you're on when you're talking to souls. Mm-hmm.
Stage fright is a thing.
You know, with people that may have a different point of view than you. That they may not have lived the same life as you, and there's going to be some friction. Okay.
Right.
There's always going to be a disconnect, but the fact that you have the conversation makes us better because it makes us even better as people because it brings us closer together to get an understanding.
Right.
And that's the thing that we have to do as people is get an understanding.
We talked a lot about community on the last podcast because, you know, like we'd stated before, civilization falls and we don't have anything else. All we do have is community to fall back on. You have people to rely on when stuff gets really hard, you know. Who would you say that has been your biggest supporter and or inspiration?
For
just your philosophy on life, I guess. Your values, what keeps you going after the things that you want. You know, what's your motivation? Who inspired you? Do you have inspiration from people?
This is gonna sound really crazy. I need y'all to put y'all seatbelt on because we can really go for a ride. We're gonna go to 0 to 150 in just 3 seconds. Okay.
Put on my helmet.
I learned what not to do by watching my parents. I'm serious. I learned what not to do by watching my parents. They are my biggest inspiration because the life that they live is not what I want.
I hear that.
They are incredible people. They have worked tirelessly, and just for it not to benefit them down the line. My mother worked. Oh my God, she was a housekeeper. She worked in restaurants. She worked in a factory where they put the pancakes. What they call the film reels. They call them pancakes. Back in the day, they call it ranked video, where she put the films on the reels. Mm-hmm. She did that. My dad worked in at a quarry, a relative restaurant. Broke their bodies down. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when I was 11 years old, my mother had a fall at work and never returned. And she's been disabled ever since. And my dad had an issue with his heart and didn't know it, and had years of asbestos in his lungs and years in the military and things of that nature, and worked until his body just said, you know what, I'm tired.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what I've learned from that is no one can value you more than you.
Right.
So you have to give you what you feel like you need for yourself. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how I live my life, because that's what I want for me. I cannot live my life like that. Always wondering, is this all that life has to offer? I want to be able to see everything. I want to see all the things that are beautiful.
Right.
Right.
Not just on the television, because not everybody has one of those anyway. Mm-hmm. I've never been to. This is gonna sound real crazy. So what's I think it's called Mount Rushmore.
Yep. I've never been there either.
I want to go.
That sounds like a fun time.
I've never been to Disney World, and I'm still a kid. I'm 37 years old. I'm a kid. I never, because I was always responsible as a kid, and so I got that Michael Jackson kind of thing, but not with the kids though. That was a joke, because I love Michael Jackson. Okay, so right. So y'all supposed to laugh at that, people.
But with his, he was made to be an adult as a young child. I got you.
And that's what I was getting at. And so there are so many things that we miss out on, that I call them distractions, that we miss out on the simple, the things that are just so simple in life that we just take for granted, because we're so caught up in just trying to make it. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like we're at a point where okay, we're here, so now let's thrive. I want to know what thriving feels like, not what making it feels like, because I know what trying to make it looks like. I know what it feels like. Now I want to see what thriving feels like.
I think
Totally.
that striving or that struggle that you're talking about. I think there's actually there's some beauty in the struggle too. Like
Yeah.
there's some excitement in making new things
Yeah.
and meeting new people and trying to share your beliefs
Yeah.
with the world because potentially thousands of people could see this.
Yeah. And it's definitely about the journey. You take joy in the journey because you remember how you got to where you are,
Totally.
and then you bring people along with you, and you help them up.
Totally.
You don't be like MC Hammer and just give it, baby. We ain't gonna give you everything now.
Nah, see,
we ain't gonna give everything away now.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I like self-help so much. And do you have any kind of self-help routine that you do, or do you? Some people read the Bible. Some people watch YouTubers. Some people read books. What kind of self-help would you say that you do to keep yourself on the straight and narrow, so to speak?
Interestingly enough, self-help for me comes from people that are going through it themselves.
Learning off people's mistakes.
That has been having a front row seat and
to the show, so to speak.
Yeah. And then the reading material. The last book I read, and I'm lost on the title as of right now, just because it was such a long time ago, but it was so profound. But it might have been by Rick Warren, I think.
Rick
What was
Warren?
the context?
Purpose-driven life?
Yes, the
Hey,
Purpose-Driven
that's
Life.
a
Freedom from your hurts, hangups, and habits. I actually like that, and I'm not a religious person at all. I'm more spiritual than anything else because I'm into the metaphysics and the numerology and stuff like that. So it's beauty even in that, and just letting go, letting go of things that you don't understand, because your mind can only hold so much. So you do what you can do, and you help who you can help, and then you move on. I'm not Jesus. We have, in my community, at least I know my mom, she has this Captain Save-A-Ho complex.
I've said that before. That is a thing.
And I'm like, girl, ask the good Lord to relieve you of that. Mm-hmm. Because when it's your time, who is there to help you?
Well, you would hope it'd be another Captain Save-A-Ho, but honestly, people need to help themselves. You can show someone, you can take effectively, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. There's been plenty of times that I've pointed people into some self-help related stuff, and sometimes they'll take it and they'll grow from it. Other times they'll shove their nose up at it and think it's a bunch of bull malarkey.
Well, here's the thing. I am an advocate. Let me just say this real quick. I mean, this is kind of off topic, but self-help also means if you need help, it is okay to go talk to somebody. I don't understand why so many people in the older communities don't want to go talk to a therapist or anything like that.
True.
It's stigmatized.
It is.
That's why.
It's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
So, because I know, not to put my mother's business out there, but we're gonna put it out there. So it's really interesting to me, because I was analyzing a situation where my grandmother had passed away, and one of the other siblings is hurting, and I'm like, well, they're hurting because of this, and this, and this, and they need to go get them some help, because what y'all are doing ain't helping. And I said, if they were to go to counseling and what would be the benefit of all of y'all going and doing the work with her? Because then you can get to the root.
You're saying going and doing therapy with someone that you're having issues with?
Yes, because y'all all have the same issue. They all have the same issue. When you're not talking to that person that you have an issue with, it no longer is that one person's problem. Because now you can't even articulate to me why you're not talking to that person. Oh, it's this person's problem. Is this person's problem? Well, what did you say something to that person? Why does this person feel this way? Well, because if your person, if they're saying this, and this about you, then address it.
Well, sometimes people don't like, I would say people don't like confrontation. There's one. Another one would be addressing the thing that was said gives it more power. So I feel like if something is bullshit, honestly, just you can't stop someone if they have that vitriol and hatred in them to talk shit.
Yeah, that's also true. That's also true. But also, what I've also learned too is people don't like to be held accountable for their words, thoughts, and deeds either. But they want to hold you to your thoughts and your words and your deeds.
Oh yeah,
and that's not fair either. And so so it's really interesting. So I know, and that's just one instance, but I also noticed though too, with my dad being one of 27 children, 27.
Wow, I thought my grandparents had a lot of kids.
You know, when you have that many children, there are things that you miss. You know,
100%.
Your parents can't give you everything. You know, your love. You know, you don't. Every child don't get the same thing.
No.
And so you pass that down. You pass that deficiency, whatever it is, down to your child. And now that child has work to do too.
Yeah, my dad always made the excuse he didn't have a dad, so he didn't know how to be a good father. But I tend to feel like that's an excuse in a lot of ways. But like with your dad or with your father's situation, it almost reminds me of Horton Hears a Who, where he had all these children he had lined up, and he only got a little bit of time with each of them. But when you got that many kids, there's, like you said, you're bound to miss something. That's
and here's the thing. But you never thought to ask how I felt. And that's where the problem lies though too. Because then if you go, let's just say if I'm the one that has the issue, I'm gonna say I'm the child of the parent that is one of the 27 children.
okay.
Right?
You're right.
So I'm the grandchild of the grandmother that had all the children, and I'm going to get therapy because, you know, I'm having issues that were not addressed when they were children, because I didn't get.
Are all these people in the same household?
No.
Okay. I was gonna say
they're all. Well, you know the song "Papa Was a Rolling Stone" everywhere he later had was home. Well,
okay.
Mama, well, change from Papa to Mama. Okay, we're gonna let that be what it is. So whatever that deficiency is, you pass it down, and when you don't address it, that deficiency grows into something much bigger. But then when you go and you seek outside help, then you're looked upon as being crazy because you're letting outside people in. Well, no, I'm smart enough to know I can't handle this on my own.
Right.
And talking to you is not making it any better, because I have a broken bottle and you have the other end. I'm broken and you're broken, and our brokenness do not fit to we put it together and it doesn't mesh. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mesh. So you have hurting people. Hurting people hurt people.
Right. True statement.
So we have to get over the stigma of trying to fix everything ourselves, because we can't do it.
Right.
We can't do it. We can't.
Right.
Do
Like
it.
here's like so this is a metaphor that I heard when I was going through like my own therapy sessions, and it was like, okay, so the question was asked, how do you revive dead soil? How do you revive dead soil? The only way to revive dead soil is by introducing healthy, fresh, living soil. Right? So the metaphor is the dead soil would be the person who has the problem, but without outside help, which is the healthy living soil, how's that person supposed to become healthy?
Yeah.
Right? Because that person has always been living, well, as we're talking about within this stigma of like, potential generational like deficiencies, generational issues that haven't been addressed. But, as we introduce the healthy, fresh living soil, now we actually can create the distinction between what is healthy and what isn't healthy. Right, so by introducing that, but at the same time, like, how do we continue progressing forward, which is by now no longer putting blame on the people who raised us with deficiencies, but rather we're like more like, as we've grown, as we've healed, so to speak, because healing is like a lifelong process, right? But as we mature, I think would be the better word, as we mature, as we grow in wisdom, like we can see now, it's like, okay, hold on, I understand that my problems came from their problems, but I'm not going to hold them, I'm not going to hold like, what's the word, hold them prisoner
Accountable or
to, right, to something that they themselves weren't even healthy enough to overcome.
Yeah, you don't
So
hold it hostage. Yeah.
exactly, right. So at the same time, it's like, as we become healthy living soil, now we can actually spread that to like the next generation, or even potentially to the people around us.
That's very interesting, actually, that you just
Break
made
the
me think
cycle.
about it. That's so true, because that's kind of how I started to appreciate my dad later in life, and give him a pass for some of the BS. Especially when I started, because you don't know what everybody's been through. You may learn things about your parents that you did not know that will totally change your worldview on them and how you thought about them and the decisions that they made in their life. For instance, I don't know if I even need to share this, and I guess it matters because he's passed, but I learned after my dad had passed that he was actually raped in the Navy. Had no idea. And that kind of makes me see why he may have developed a drinking problem and a problem with drugs, because he had stuff that he just could never deal with. And being a male, I think society in a lot of ways makes you feel ashamed to open up about your feelings,
Totally.
Facts.
So it's a little stigmatized there. I mean, that's one reason why suicide is highest among men, because they don't feel like they have anyone to talk to, or they feel ashamed to talk about it.
Yeah, and then also too, it's like, well, if I'm talking to someone about this particular issue, it makes me less than. No.
Yeah.
And we have to call it out when we see it. That's a lie. It's a lie.
It's been really good talking to you. I'm looking at the time, and you do have a performance to get to.
I do. I have to have a show.
I do want to ask: is there anything that you? Well, for one, where can people find you on social media?
Those of you that are inclined can find me on Instagram at I am Hollywood Woo. That is all one word. I am Hollywood Woo. And I'm mostly active on Facebook when I'm not in Facebook jail. But I'll be in Facebook jail for doing good stuff though. That's because their algorithms suck. But anyway, and my name is Kenith Hollywood Woo. Hollywood Woo is one word. Gaddie, which is Gaddie. on Facebook. And I look forward to connecting with all of you new people and old people and everything. It's been great. We'll have to come back and do this again.
Agreed.
I love this.
Do you got any questions that you would have liked me to ask you that you didn't get a chance to talk about?
Maybe like next time, like a Spitfire round, like just something that I just have to,
off the wall whimsical things.
Yeah, just have to just come off the wall.
Okay.
I would have to think of just like I wouldn't be able to think. I would have to just like
right.
Quick fire questions.
I love that idea. Actually, that's a great idea, Turtle. We need to work that in for sure.
Absolutely.
Did you have any questions you had that you want to ask him before he goes, Turtle, or final thoughts?
Well, Kenneth, I absolutely appreciated this conversation with you. It was incredibly insightful. One of the things that I certainly like, that my final thought and my takeaway from this conversation is that we can't take for granted the wisdom that comes through other people's triumphs over their struggles, or the inspiration that comes through watching other people wrestle with them. And thank you so much, man. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me, and I look forward to this podcast. And wow, what a wonderful experience. Thank you for the platform.
Yes, sir.